Joining me now is my very first guest for the day. Karibu sana to the show. Her name is Betty Wanjikunji here. And she has quite a story. And if you're a parent, if you have teenagers in the house, young people in the house, maybe you're an aunt or an uncle, I would really encourage you to tune in and ask them to tune in as well and hear out Betty's story. Betty, it's good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, literally, it's good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Because your story involves not one but multiple suicide attempts.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, maybe tell us, how was life growing up?
Life growing up was good. I can say there is at one point that I was maybe frustrated, but my life was very good parents, very good siblings, and my life was good. My life is good. And growing up for me was not a walk in the park per se, but it was easy. It was not like that. Those highlights that I can mention that were maybe bad or too bad, but my life was good.
So your life was good, but then one day you actually contemplated taking your own life.
Yeah.
This was not just a thought, it was an actual attempt?
Exactly.
What happened? I mean, from saying that you have this wonderful family, a wonderful life, what happened that a beautiful young woman like yourself would think about that?
I was 17. I was in Form 3. And around second term that term, I just got those thoughts that, you know what, life is like crowded up. And when you asked me, why is your life crowded up, I didn't have an answer. But I really wanted to die. Like, I actually wanted it. And I used to, like, work so hard for death. People work so hard to live. I was working so hard to just get out of this world. I don't care where I'm going. It never crossed my mind whether taking life was a sin or not. But I actually wanted to just go. At a point, I wrote my eulogy. I had the theme colors. I had who is going to read my tribute. I had the specific people who were supposed to attend my funeral. So it was that bad.
And so nothing triggered that? I mean, was it the pressures of school? Was it peer pressure? Was it some of the people, your classmates? What would trigger thoughts like that to say that life, what does that mean? Maybe try and explain that to someone. I know you're also maybe processing it still, but what did you mean when you say that life felt crowded? You mean your life? You felt there was too much going on?
Exactly. I felt like I was facing too much. And that was what I would actually say when you just look at me, because I used to be like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to associate myself with anyone. And I think there was too much pressure because in school I was a deputy head girl and then the head girl. So seeing that every eye is looking at you, and my life was not hard like bullying or anything. I was actually the topmost like girl in terms of leadership, the head girl. So I never felt like, I just felt like, you know what, this is too much for me. I just want to go. I just want to go. I don't have a specific reason, like there someone can try take his or her life and you're like, you know what, maybe my dad died, passed on or something of the sort. I never had such a story. I wanted to die. That was my story.
Wow. So were you then sort of caught in the attempt? I mean, thankfully, it wasn't successful. So did someone catch you trying to take your own life, or what happened?
Funny enough, and the testimony in this is that I actually tried. The first time I took 30 Buscopan, and then they never worked. I was so frustrated. I cried, and I was in school. The second time, I bought some drugs. I was over for midterm, bought some drugs in the chemist. I didn't want to take my life at home. I wanted to take it at school because I was like, I actually thought about it like it was an actual mission. Now, if I take my life at home, it will be really frustrating for my parents.
The second time was how soon after the first one?
Let's say around weeks, 5, a month. Actually, a month. Yeah. The second time I took...
Still with the same reasons.
Exactly. I just
You don't really know how to explain it, but you just didn't want to be here.
Yes. And having that the first attempt didn't work, I felt even worse because I was like, why am I not dying? I thought I wanted to end it all. Why, God, why? Why are you keeping me here? You know I want to die. And I thought you said that you grant us our wishes. Why can't you grant this one? So I was actually bitter. So the more I tried and the more they failed, the more bitter I got. So the more reasons I had to even want to die. And at this time I was only 17. And every statement that people told me, and without, no one knew I was trying to take my life.
Oh, they didn't know.
No one knew. So the first time I took 30, I'm like, these are 30 Buscopans. These are like medicines doctors tell you, you know what, this one, if you take 2, you're going to die. So I was like, are you serious? This didn't work. So I tried, let me take 20. There were 20 to 25. These were constants. So I took them after maybe a month, and they didn't work too. This time I opened up to a teacher in school. She tried, she talked to me.
This was after the second attempt.
Exactly. This is now after the second attempt. She talked to me, she counseled me, she made me go home for around a week, and I was okay. But when I got back to school now...
Sorry, but when you went home, did you then tell your parents?
Yes,
or your siblings?
I did, and they did their best. They really talked to me, and after some time, this was 2017, after some time, after they talked to me, I was really encouraged. And my mom actually thought of it as spiritual also, because taking your life and you're this young and you don't have any problem per se. So like she took it as a spiritual problem as well. So she really prayed for me, and I felt good. So it took a while from 2017. Now, when I got to 2018, the thought came back again. But I was too scared to tell people that, you know what, I want to take my life again. So I decided, let me just do it like let me just finish it, and let me take some time out, like around 4 months, because this was 2017 and my third attempt was in 2018. Now this one was
just
after
last year.
Yes, last year now. This one was after further research, because I asked a friend of mine in school. She really knew much about medicines and stuff like that, because her dad was a doctor. So I asked it as an inquiry to her that if you take which medicine, which can it kill you like that easily. So I was like, which is the strongest? No, I actually asked her, which is the strongest medicine you know? She said, cetirizine. I'm like, okay, tell me a number that you'll take and someone maybe will die. She didn't know I was going through something, because I was really bubbly.
She didn't suspect it.
Nothing. I was bubbly, and at this one point I'm so happy, and this time I'm sad. So it was really like, people take it as mood swings, or she's having stress because of schoolwork or something. So you will never say, this girl is suicidal. Because even when I didn't talk about it, because I was like, how will people take me? Man, everyone calls you strong. So you know what? Just do your things, chini ya maji. You don't have to tell everyone. So she told me cetirizine. I was like, are you sure? She told me when you take 3, you're going to die. Like, are you sure? She told me, yes, I'm very, very sure. She even gave a testimony of one who took, I think, 3, 4 actually, and was admitted for a very long time. So I decided to double and take 10. So I actually sent someone from school, a worker actually, and was like...
It was that easy to get the pills? You just sent...
I used a very good excuse, because we were having a science project at that time, at that period. So I told the person that I'm using the drugs for a science project. I don't blame him, because he was like, people were asking for things. You were allowed to ask and tell someone to send this for you for your project. So I said mine is related to something to do with drugs and something of the sort, and it was very easy at that time, and I was like, okay, yes. So he bought 10. After I took those ones, they knocked me out. They really knocked me out. I slept like for a very long time, and after that I found myself in the dispensary, and I was sent back home. I went back home, I got counseling again, and this is when I was admitted, and then I was diagnosed with bipolar. That is in 2018. So I felt a little bit relieved that this trying to take my life has been given a name.
You understood it now.
Exactly. So I was like, so I'm not cursed, I'm not wicked. This thing is actually a mental disorder.
All right, let me hold it right there and just say, if you're just tuning in, we're sitting here with Betty Wanjikunji here, who is a young woman, 19 years old, right? Yeah. Only 19 years old now, just completed Form 4 last year, is waiting to join the university, but has, in a space of, I guess, 3 years, has attempted to take her life 6 times. And she's informed us that one of the ways that she would do that is to actually just send for over-the-counter medicines and overdose on that. And we're actually going to be joined by the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya, and he's going to be hopefully giving us his perspective as well on this. But coming back to you now, Betty, you're saying last year was your 3rd attempt.
Yeah.
It's only literally the end of January 2019. So between then and now, you've had an additional 3 attempts at taking your own life.
Yeah.
When you were now diagnosed with bipolar, you've said that sort of allowed you to, I guess, find a place to sort of pin the feelings that you were experiencing.
Exactly.
So when you went home this third time and you went through counseling, I guess now also specifically to help you deal with bipolar,
Yeah.
what happened that now you still made a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth attempt?
After I was diagnosed with bipolar, I was a little bit satisfied that actually, yes, as you said, I had something to pin my problem to. But I was like, I still wanted to die. I really wanted to die. And I think having bipolar and now wondering how am I going to tell people I actually have a mental disorder, how are people going to take me? There's a stigma that follows. Now, this after some time was like, I have to die now. Now I have a reason to die. Now in my eulogy, they'll say maybe I died out of this. So I was now convinced that this is my actual death time. The fourth time was not that serious because the fourth time it was comprised of just taking any medicine I find around. If you just find medicine around, I was just taking, and I did that for like a week. I will take Panadols, 5, 6. I just wanted to take things.
Just that whether you
just
had a
like
headache
that.
or not, you were just...
Exactly. So around May, I was under medicines for bipolar, and they were antidepressants. So one time, I just stored them up. In school, I used to take the medicine at 12 at midnight, but the nurse was not around at that time. So she used to give me the small pill, and I used to take it at night. But one time a thought just crossed me, let me just accumulate them, like all of them. I used to take them. I used to take from the nurse. I'm like, unakunywa dawa? I'm like, yeah, nakunywa. And I was better. So they used to have the mentality because I'm acting all smiley, all happy, I'm okay. But that was not the case. Smiling was just a way of hiding everything that was within me. So I really accumulated them. And one time after exams, when going home, I just took them.
Wow.
And now here I was admitted to hospital. And I think here is when now sense started hitting me, because I saw my parents come in and I'm like, oh my God, I have such wonderful parents. Why am I doing this? Why? This was the 5th time now. So to release all the frustrations, here comes the 6th attempt. I started cutting myself as a way of releasing the inner anger by showing them outside. So I used to cut
cutting your wrists?
Yes. I used to just cut my hands, like just take a razor blade, and when I'm so angry, I used to be like all bitter, and I didn't want to tell anyone. So I decided, why can't I just release all this inner anger by showing some outward sign? So I started cutting myself, and that was my 6th.
Betty, well, we're very glad you're still here, and I hope that you are finding ways to deal with everything, and to, above all, this show is a faith-based lifestyle show, and so it's paramount that I tell you before you leave that God loves you, and He has a tremendous plan for your life. He has formed you beautifully, fearfully. You are perfectly made in His eyes. And so to you and to anybody else that is watching and may have had these feelings and you've not known how to deal with them, your life counts, okay? Your life counts, Betty. We're so grateful to see you here today. Maybe as we close, I know we're out of time, but if you would quickly look into this camera here and just say something to someone who maybe has been in your situation before, just give them a word of encouragement, even as you continue to encourage yourself.
First and foremost is that deep inside of every one of us, there is a deposit of greatness, and there's something that God has placed in our lives that we are supposed to accomplish in the face of the earth by His will. And before you came to this world, there's a problem that was created on the face of the earth, and you came here as a solution. So if you ever try or think of trying to commit suicide, know that you're a solution to a certain problem in the face of the earth. If you leave this earth, then how is that solution supposed to be found? You are great, you're beautiful, you're amazing, God loves you, and you are better than that. You are better than trying to take your life. You're better than feeling all depressed and down, because you're a child of a king. You deserve all kinds of happiness. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. So you have to know that first, it is okay not to be okay. Speak about it. You have to rewrite your story. No story is too shallow. No story is too sad for it to be rewritten. You can rise up, like dust down, like shake all this dust down, and just get up, and you know what, you are great.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
Keep up that spirit.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Betty, and thank you for sharing your story. We're going to be back just after this short break. Do stay tuned. This is Full Circle with Joyce.